Hey, what's up guys? John here. In 2020, during all the madness, millions of Americans relocated, and they went to places like Nashville, Tennessee.
Pandemic and the switch to work from home gave millions of Americans the opportunity to move.
Out-of-towners have descended on Nashville during the pandemic.
Nashville, Tennessee is one of the top destinations for California residents looking to relocate.
And builders and investors saw massive opportunity inside of this huge influx of high-income earners looking for a nice place to live. They took advantage of that boom. Well, now many of these builders, the script's getting flipped on them because they're going belly up, they're going bankrupt, they're in very, very, very big trouble. Let me show you what I mean. See this community behind me? That's just one of many communities. These are about to lay some houses here. This is already graded. They're getting ready to build more houses here. That's another community right there that they just built. Even if you look behind me over here, a massive community just built. 692,000 people live inside of Nashville. There's about 93,000 renters in that range, 93,000 or so. 16,000 apartments right now sit completely vacant. They cannot rent them.
The vacancy rate is in the double digits, the highest in 20 years.
And they have 18,000 more rental apartments coming to market in the next 12 months.
Well, Nashville has made another top list when it comes to growth, this time for one of the biggest increases in new apartments nationwide.
So about 34,000 new apartments coming that are looking for a tenant. You think about that, it's about 36% increase of rental inventory for this pool of tenants. What's going to happen? Rents are going to fall in a very big way. We're already starting to see rents fall.
Rent prices in Metro Nashville are going down.
Nashville rent prices dropped 8.4% from April of last year to April of this year.
And so when you take a hard look at what's going on here, you'll see one thing and one thing very, very clearly, that these builders, they're in big, big trouble because they have a lot of debt that's going to be maturing over the next 6 to 12 to 24 months. What that means is they have to go back to the bank and get a new loan based on the income and the performance of their investment. And if that investment's not performing well, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to go back to the lender, and the lender's going to resell it. And they're going to do so for a huge markdown. So what I believe is going to happen is we are going to start to see change inside of Nashville unlike anything we've ever before seen. In this video, I'm going to give you a tour and show you. I mean, for example, I'm staying at the Hyatt right now in downtown Nashville. I walk out of the lobby, I walk right into the parking lot. Major construction right there, just finished. You leave the exit, and as if you're driving out of the hotel, another major construction project right across the street. You look to the right, another major construction project. All throughout the city, major construction projects popping up. And so when you start to look at wages and what's happening, a lot of renters are looking for an affordable place to live. And these places, these brand new homes, these brand new apartments, they can't be affordable. They can't be $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a month because the cost of construction is through the roof. The cost of materials through the roof, labor cost, everything, and even insurance, taxes, the cost to borrow money, everything is going up. So because of that, they need to pass that on to the consumer. And so when you start to see this situation, what we're going to walk into is a game of survival of the fittest. He or she who has the cash makes the rules. And that's what's going to happen here in Nashville. Because what they're going to start doing, they're already doing it in a small scale now, offering concessions, first month rent free, first and last month rent free. You know, they're offering certain amenities and certain things before they otherwise would have charged for it, just to try to fill these units. That's what's going to happen. They're going to continue doing this. And as they continue doing this, those that can't do it, they're going to be in really, really big trouble. So you think about this. Many of these builders, they'll build apartments and they'll say, you know what? We're going to get a 6% return or a 7% return or a 5% return when this is stabilized, meaning when it's rented based on these rents we think we can get. Well, many of these builders were thinking they're going to be able to get rents 15, 20% more than the prior year because we were in a rental boom. Now what's happening is rents are softening inside of Nashville. And as rents are softening in Nashville, the returns are going to be going down. And so this situation that we're walking into, it's going to be a real bloodbath, coupled with the fact that what we've seen inside the labor market is shocking. To me, the greatest real estate rug pull in history, because they sold this massive lie to the American people that you could work anywhere. You can take your high $700,000, $800,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $200,000 a year salary from Silicon Valley or from wherever else, from New York City, and you can just take it to Nashville. You can take it to Miami. You can take it anywhere. Well, now a lot of these companies are saying, we want you back in the office, or they're issuing layoffs. And so when you start to see this dynamic, this change, this is going to hit home builders, right in the pocket. Now, what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to see a unique change here as well around homeowners, because a lot of homeowners, they bought properties in Nashville thinking that they could do, work from home, and they'll be able to basically go from being a renter in San Francisco paying $5,000 a month to now being a homeowner here paying $3,500. A lot of these people are losing their job. Insurance and taxes are going up. What are they going to do, right? They're going to continue to try to offload this inventory. They're going to try to offload this inventory the same time as some of these deep-pocketed home builders are going to try to offload their inventory as well. Who's going to win that game? I'll tell you who's going to win the game. It's going to be some of these home builders. And the reason for that, and this is why I believe Warren Buffett invested heavily into home builders, is because these home builders, they can do rate buy downs, but they can also promise lower insurance costs because insurance is less on a brand new property. They can offer incentives, and they can directly compete with these homeowners that don't have the financial capacity to play that game. So what I think we're walking into is a complete rebuilding of Nashville. I think we're going to see, it is just crazy. When you drive through this city, you'll see more construction than you can imagine. And when you have such a small population, not even 700,000 people here, and you see the amount of construction happening here, there's just no way that this is going to get absorbed. And the city knows it. And so what the city has done, and the local government, is they partnered up with some of these lenders. They partnered up with some of these builders, and they said, you know what? We know that office vacancy is about 18% in Nashville. 18%. And we want to help you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to offer concessions, and we're going to help you flip these office units into apartments, into housing. Now, many people are going to say, John, that's impossible. It's not going to happen because it's just too expensive to convert office to apartments. And well, they've already signed on to 2 buildings, which so far is not much. But I think that's going to continue to grow as they loosen up zoning codes and they do whatever they have to do to try to bring these apartments, more apartments to market. Now, many people would say, look, this is a good thing. Rents are way too high, and we are in a housing shortage and an affordability crisis. But what many people don't realize is what is actually happening is not for the renter. It's not for the everyday homeowner. It benefits Wall Street regardless at the end. And the reason for this is because Wall Street is able to step in, and they're going to be able to acquire a lot of these buildings, a lot of these communities, a lot of these neighborhoods at distressed prices, at massive discounts. And they're going to be able to come in and undercut the local home seller. Think about this. Let's say this community, they get to framing, or they get to, maybe they've even finished the project, like this major neighborhood right here that just finished construction. Let's say that this does finish, and let's say this home builder, they don't have home buyers to buy these properties. What are they going to do? What they've already done in Austin, they are going to make deals directly with Wall Street firms to acquire the entire community or large blocks of this community, then turn it to build to rent, and they're just going to rent it back to local people at much lower prices. And so you start to think about what this is going to mean for home sellers that are trying to either sell their properties or rent out their homes. They're going to have to compete with Wall Street. It's very rare that Main Street beats Wall Street. And so what I believe is going to happen here is it's the great rug pull on the American people, the great rug pull on the American middle class. Many people thought that 2021 and 2022, this is a period for everyone to get rich in stocks and everyone to get rich and buy real estate and invest in real estate. a lot of people did make a lot of money. But you have to realize that in all great periods of massive bursts of wealth, there's usually some type of contraction. And when you have a scenario like what we're seeing here in Nashville, where you have so much construction popping up on every single corner, what's going to happen? This construction is going to need to be absorbed from someone. And if people can't afford it at these prices, it's going to be a race to the bottom until they fill these units. And as mentioned before, he or she who has the cash makes the rules. So they're going to step in, acquire these assets for pennies on the dollar, put a lot of pressure on all of these homeowners that thought they had all this equity inside of their homes. I mean, mortgage applications are at the lowest level since 1995. Home sales are basically non-existent compared to where they were just a couple years ago. So you start to think about this. I mean, I'm looking at a lot of inventory here in Nashville. A lot of these homes are just sitting on the market. And this isn't just Nashville though. Same thing's happening in Vegas, San Francisco. A lot of these markets that were booming a couple years ago are no longer booming. These homes are just sitting. Now, what I think is very likely going to happen here is we're going to see a massive credit contraction over the next year or so. We're going to see a lot of investors really scared. We're going to see a lot of home buyers that have cash looking on the sidelines, seeing everything happening and saying, you know what, I might be better off holding off here for 6 months, 12 months, seeing what's going to happen after November, after all of this craziness. I mean, look at what's unfolded inside of the world in the last, call it 2 weeks. It's craziness. Everything is not what it was a couple years ago. And I think that's going to be even more true the next couple years, especially with housing, especially with investing. You're going to see a lot of volatility, a lot of change, and a lot of people getting shaken out of this housing market. And so if you have big goals, you should really pay attention to what's going on in your market, because nearly every single market has went through something similar to what's going on here in Nashville. You look at, Vegas, you look at Austin, you look at Phoenix, it's crazy. You start to, I just drove the entire country looking at all these different housing markets, because what you hear on the media, what you see on TV, and you read about, you don't really know if it's true. I'll tell you though, after having been to all these cities, what's unfolded here, it's shocking all throughout America. So make sure you have cash. Make sure you have stable income, because it's going to get harder to get a loan, I promise you. Because when you look at who is holding this debt, these builders, they don't own it free and clear. They have creditors. They have to borrow money. They have to pay back this money. A lot of these lenders are going to get hit. They're going to get hurt. And when they do, what's going to happen? They're going to be more careful about the next guy they lend money to, the next girl. So make sure you have stable cash flow, cash in the bank, no consumer credit card debt, really great credit. You have a really good chance of getting a loan. And if you don't, now's the time to kind of square all this up. Because what I think is going to happen next 6-12 months, I think we're going to see a bloodbath. You're already starting to see it in commercial real estate. You're hearing about all these major deals selling for 30 cents on the dollar compared to where they were selling for just 2-3 years ago. All of these large projects, this isn't like a 30-year fixed rate loan, like when you buy a residential house. You commit to a 5% or 7% mortgage, whatever the mortgage amount is, and you say, great, I'm going to pay this amount for 360 months for that 30-year period, and at the end, I'll own the property. No. Every 3, 5, or 7 years on these commercial loans, they have to go back to the bank. The bank's going to look at the numbers. That's how it works. And if they don't hit certain numbers, the lender is going to say, I'm not going to do the refinance. I'm not going to do it. And if that owner doesn't have any other options, they're giving the keys back. And then that lender is going to sell it. This is what's about to happen all throughout America. The commercial real estate market is a $20 trillion market. 10% of all commercial property from now until 2027 has to go through that entire process. Think about how big of a number that is. It's huge. And you think about what's happened the last couple of years, everybody wanted to be a multifamily real estate investor. Everybody wanted to 1031 exchange, meaning they would sell their property in California, they'd buy something in Texas, Florida, Nashville, buy something with more, landlord protections, and they would sell that deal for a profit. They'd roll all the profits into another property of like kind, and then they would try to do some type of value add play to, you know, boost their cash flow. But how do you do that in a market where you have tens of thousands of other people all throughout the country hitting those same markets on the same exact thing? A lot of people are about to get hurt here. What do you think about this entire situation? What do you think is unfolding here in Nashville? How low will these rents go? Do you think we're walking into the greatest real estate rug pull in American history? Seems like it. If you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for tomorrow. Catch you next video.